Ying, since release, has been one of the most criminally underrated operators on the attacking lineup. Despite the short boom in popularity when she was totally busted with 4 Candelas, she has again fallen into relative obscurity after being reverted back to 3. Ying is by no means an easy operator to perfect, nor is she the most difficult operator to play. When it comes to executing on sight, Ying will be the first one in and the last one standing with 3 super strong flashes that can each clear out a medium-sized room. Her 2 speed 2 armor rating puts her right in the middle of speed and survivability. Ying has access to 2 primaries, the T95 LSW and the 612. I think that players tend to be put off by the prospect of either having an LMG or a shotgun, but let me promise you that the LMG handles like any of the hard-hitting assault rifles but with less recoil. The T95 LSW is one of my favorite guns in the game and for good reason. With its recent damage buff, it only requires 3 or 4 shots to down or kill, is very forgiving with a large magazine, has low recoil, and a super fast ADS time. With 81 bullets, you won't have to reload very often, but when you do, it's an insanely fast reload for an LMG. The 612 on the other hand is a meme gun. It's not a bad shotgun, but as with most loadouts, there's only one viable choice, and in this case it's the T95. As far as the attachments go, I prefer the highest magnification scopes, but literally any scope is viable and it comes down to personal preference. Compensator is the best choice, click on the card in the top right to see why. There's only one choice for pistol, and as always, run muzzle brake on it. The pistol is decent in its own right, but since you have an LMG with 81 bullets, there's really no reason to ever use it. In terms of secondary gadgets, Ying has access to either the new secondary hard breach or smoke grenades. Smokes are the best choice 9 times out of 10, but if a Hibana is banned on a hatch-heavy map like Bank, running the hard breach gadget might just save you. When using smokes, make sure to not smoke off your team from watching angles, but rather smoke the angles that the defenders could be peeking from, so that the defender has to run blindly through the cloud into your crosshair. I made a video covering smokes and how to throw them here. There really isn't a whole lot else to cover without repeating what was already said in that video, so be sure to go and check it out if you want to learn specifics about smokes. Ying is a solidly flex operator, with more fragging power than hard support, but not as much as straight fraggers. She tends to be on the more aggressive side of flex, being able to create her own pushes, effectively clear roamers, and has the option to be droned in and given callouts which she can quickly act upon. Being more passive is also an option if you want to stay safe until it's time to execute on sight. It's never a bad idea to stay alive until the last minute because you're able to drone and help the rest of your team take map control without super aggressive plays. There's no one set playstyle with Ying because of her nature as a flex operator, but there are some limitations to what she can do. Ying relies heavily on her teammates to work together with roam clearing, taking map control, or executing on sight. Ying has access to 3 Candelas that contain 6 individual flashes that disperse around a 2-meter diameter in all directions and then one in the middle. Candelas have 3 levels of cooking. Immediately throwing a Candela, displaying 1 light, will result in a 5-second delay from hitting the ground to detonating, with flashes being thrown out one after the other quickly. Cooking until the second light goes off will result in a 3-second delay, and waiting for all 3 lights will result in only a 1-second delay. This is a change from how Ying performed at launch. Previously, her Candelas cooked the opposite way around, sort of winding up more than cooking. This new system is more intuitive and is definitely a positive change. Keep in mind that Ying's flashes act very differently from normal flashes. They don't bounce, so the angle you throw it at matters more. On top of this, the flash radius is much wider, so flashing close to a door could blind your teammates sitting behind you too. In addition to this, you can fully cook a Candela and toss it right before entering an ADS's line of sight. If done properly, you can burn the ADS with just 1 Candela instead of 2. Alternatively, you can use your smokes to burn 1 ADS and rely on teammates to burn the rest, since your Candelas are very strong for clearing out entrenched defenders. Ying's flashes are more inconsistent than normal flashes, so don't think that someone's 100% flash and always be wary when you're pushing. Don't mess around with an enemy that you think is flash, just finish your kills quickly and move on. Also, while cooking your flashes, because they can't be banked off of doorways as effectively, you're going to be pretty exposed. Listen for nitros and defenders sprinting up, and also try to have your team close to you when you're flashing. You can deploy Candelas through soft surfaces, including barricades, floors, and walls. This is flawed for the same reason as Fuse is flawed. Either you become too exposed by placing it within earshot of defenders, or you waste your time and Gadget. This Gadget also comes with a passive ability. She doesn't get flashed by her own Candelas. However, Ying will get flashed by teammates' flashes, so don't rush in as your teammates are throwing flashbangs. The visual effect that Ying has when pulling out a Candela really doesn't do anything, it's more just for show. Jaeger and Wamai are Ying's worst enemies. These are the 2 sole operators with the ability to automatically minimize damage done by a Ying. To circumvent this, coordinate with a teammate who has the flashes to burn devices, or a Thatcher to disable an entire room's worth of gadgets. If all else fails, you can burn them with your smokes, but it's going to be best to rely on your team or just outright ban one of the 2. Warden is technically a counter to Ying, but he's flawed for his own reasons. I'll be covering Warden in a later video, but I'll tell you right now that he's one of the worst operators with a very situational gadget, poor utility, and will rarely, if ever, be picked in any games above gold. It's also possible to shoot a candela, meaning if you roll it in, a defender has the ability to shut it down before even firing off one flash, but more often than not, you'll still get a flash or two off. To compensate for this, cook the candelas as much as possible to reach your desired destination. Ying is a powerful operator to crack open a tough defense and can be devastating when combined with good droning. Her low recoil, high damage LMG makes pre-firing angles extremely easy. Above all else, Ying will frustrate the hell out of your enemies. She is the perfect complement to an already complete team composition, but shouldn't be picked over crucial roles like Hard Breach, Thatcher and Callie, or Sledge and Buck. However, if these roles are filled, it'll almost never be a bad choice to run Ying. To summarize, Ying is a decently hard operator to use because while she has an excellent LMG that will shred through your enemies, her gadget takes some time to get used to, she lacks team utility outside of her flashes, and while she can roam clear to some extent, she's much more suited to executing on sight. Ying isn't the least self-reliant operator, but for her to be as effective as possible, she has to be with her team. Pushing alone as Ying is useless in most cases. She should be the one initiating a sight execute to allow for a plant, not baiting on the other side of the map. Ying is strongest when she's with her team, so coordinate as much as possible. That's all for Ying, and I'll see you in the next one.